What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video from Nick's Archery. My name is Nick and I hope you've had a good week and have an even better weekend. It is currently Friday and I am on the outdoor range at the Paringa Archers. I thought I'd just take the time today to talk a bit about anchor points, and I'm going to go through in this video the basics of anchor points, how to find one, and maybe a few different variations and my progressions that I've gone through with my anchor. So without further ado, let's get started. So, when it comes to anchor points, the first thing we should be asking ourselves is, what is an anchor point? And the most basic form of an anchor point is the relationship between your release hand and a part of your face. Now you want to try and find a part of your face that you feel comfortable with coming back to draw and coming in every time. Now for recurve, it's going to be coming under and here. It's really just finding that spot in your face that you can come back to and find that same spot and consistently get that same release every time. Now what I say in archery is it doesn't matter on technique, good or bad or whatever, it's all about having good consistency, doing the same thing every single time, and having a good anchor point really sets you up and is vital to give you that consistency in archery. Now how you start and how you find that, this is going to be more for a compounder shooter than it is for a recurve shooter, so I'll go through the compounds and all through that. So the first thing you should start with is your release. A lot of people don't know how to hold their release or even how to shoot one really. You've got two kind of releases when it comes to archery. You've got your trigger and you got your back tension. Now when you hold your release, I see a lot of people holding around it and they're gripping it like that. Now what you want to start with your release is holding it vertical like this, getting your hand flat like that, and a good start to holding a release is just starting with your first line of knuckles, just curl them in. So your first line of knuckles is here, your second line of knuckles is here. Your hand still stays flat, don't bend it in, don't bend it up, so your wrist is flat. So first row of your knuckles is on this side, second row is on this side. So almost making a square with your knuckles, right? And when you do that with your release, it almost sits perfect in that groove when you have all those. What you want to try to do is avoid going right wrap round, because then you see how to have that straight, my wrist is bent out all the way out here, but if I had it flat, it's going way out there. So always try hand flat, just curl around, keep it nice and relaxed, and just sit it up in that groove, and you have it. This is a 4-finger trigger release. You can use a 3 just by bringing that back, or even if you want to use a 2, bring it back like that. But you'll find that every time, in any release, handheld release that you have this little groove here between your index finger and your middle finger, and that is a good starting point of where to place. Now when it comes to activating your release, there's a lot of variations in that, especially between trigger, back tensions, and all these follow-throughs that you have. And this is what really sets you up for having a good follow-through shot. Now, what you want to be able to do, especially with trigger, a lot of people like to come back and you found your draw long and they just press the button. Nothing happens really. There's no follow through that should flow through your body, because you've got a lot of tension on your body when you're full draw. If you let it click and drop, all that energy is going to go straight back into the bow and something's going to kick off. So what you want to do is when you draw back your bow, you want to keep pulling through the shot. You want to imagine trying to go through your draw line. So if you're here on your draw line, you want to pretend that you're trying to release off your draw line. Off your draw. So when you come back, you go to your draw line. You want to make sure that you don't just click that button. What you want to be able to do is wrap your thumb around that button, and then with the third finger here, you want to just slowly pull that. Pull, and it goes off. The thing about archery is you'd never want to anticipate your shot, because if you anticipate, you're going to throw it off, you're going to talk it off, you're going to have lefts, rights, ups, downs, and then you're going to go mental. So you always want to be relaxed, wrap that finger around the trigger, third finger comes in, and just slowly pull, and it goes off. You want to let that float in the 10. You don't want to just go in the middle of the 10 and punch it. That's what we call punching, is just doing that. So, coming back, release to your face, wrap your finger around the trigger, and then just pulling back. You also want to pull back with your elbow as well as your third finger. If not just your elbow anyway. So coming back, wrap your finger around the trigger. You can put a little bit of pressure on it, but not too much that it goes. You can put a little bit of pressure, but not enough that it actually goes. So pull back, anchor, wrap finger around, and elbow. See how my elbow's almost moving backwards? It's moving back, pressure, goes. You want that surprise when it comes to this. Now, when you've got a hinge release, it's a bit tricky. You don't have that trigger to wrap around, because what a hinge release is basically a hook that connects to a moon that deals with rotation. So it rotates. Now, when it comes to this, there's so many ways you can activate it. The one main way that I would suggest, at least start off with, you can change this in the future, and I always suggest to people, always play with your anchor points, because you never know what works for you now and then what works for you later. So coming back, same thing, coming to anchor, finding that draw line, let the safety off, and you want to do nearly the same thing as you did with your trigger, just relaxing, click, and just pulling through the shot. It's going to be easier on a hinge release than a trigger, depending how you've set it up. You just want to come back, come into there, and relax. Goes. Now, when it comes to a good anchor point, I do get asked a lot, what's the biggest tip you can ever give someone for getting a good anchor point? The biggest tip is finding your own anchor point, changing it, evolving it, always trying new different things to get that same position every time. You want to feel comfortable between your release and your face and your release hand to be able to shoot off all the time. Now, one thing I do get asked is, what kind of angles do you do? Do you do flat, do you straight up, or this or that? And it's very different for every single archer of where you want to put it. I've seen a lot of archers shoot flat and they shoot 10s all day. I've seen a lot of archers shoot way up here with the fourth finger straight on the ear and they shoot 10s all day. It doesn't matter, really. As long as you can do the same thing and you can tune it. Okay, tune your anchor point in to yourself, not to other people. Take suggestions in and try and put them into action, but you never want to try and copy someone else. You can try their way, but find your own way in your anchor point, because it's all about your specific unique way and your style that you shoot when you have it. Now, when I shoot and my angle is actually the same angle as my front arm, or my front hand. So 45 degree, nat 45 degree on my front hand. When I come up to draw, I actually copy the same angle. So when I come back, it's the same angle as my front hand. That way I create less torque, because I have a thing for talking a lot. So I have to try and create less torque as much as I can. Now back when I first started, I actually shot my trigger release here a lot, and I used to shoot very flat like this, like flat as I could get it, and I came right on my draw line. Wasn't up at all, and I shot all right with it. It was comfortable back then, not anymore. It's not. But you learn to evolve when you get more into archery, more into it, and you learn more things. But when I used to shoot flat, I had a bit of trouble letting it float because I didn't have more things on my face. The less touch you have on your face, the less point of references you have. So all the point of references you have is your anchor, your front hand, and maybe your tip of your nose if you're touching your string. But you know, you got all these fingers here that you can use to actually get more point of reference. The more you turn up, you can actually get more surface area on your face to be able to be more consistent and maybe even steadier in some cases. I can't actually get my fourth finger on my face. I can at the moment, but when I'm drawing back on my bow, I can't actually get my fourth finger because I can't actually turn my shoulder that far up. And it all depends on different people and their flexibility. My flexibility isn't that great when it comes to my back shoulder. I can only get probably my 2 and then maybe my 3rd up sometimes. But you learn to work with your draw length. You know, try here, try there. You know, between your anchor point, you've got draw lengths as well. You know, try it here for maybe a week, and maybe try it back here for a week, try it here for a week. If you're a recurver, same thing, you know. Don't have a release, but you know, you can come under, you can come over here, wherever you want. Just remember one thing when it comes to anchor point, it is unique to you, not to anyone else. It is always something that can only be yours as a style. There's no technically a wrong way of having an anchor point as long as you can do it consistently enough to get that grouping that you need down that range. So I hope this video has helped you guys out with your anchor point and how to find it. Just in summary, just make sure that you come back to that same point. Anything you change will change down on that range, as well as your bow, because if you change your draw length, you're going to have to play with your P-part as well, so everything changes when you change here. But make sure you have plenty of play with where you wanted to have it. Different releases, different anchor points, everything that you need. I hope you've enjoyed the video, hope it's helped. If you do have any questions, please comment down below and I will answer them. This is Nick from Nick's Archery. I'll see you next time.